Okay, so today we are drawing a still life. The first thing I always do is a grid. And I'm using a 6B pencil. Grids help you with placing objects. We're doing a fairly simple still life. The still life that we are going to draw is going to be a vase and a sphere. So I'm going to place my sphere here. And then my vase will start down here. And you can always simplify objects to a basic shape when you first start drawing them. And I'm going to have this sitting on top of a box. You draw through the object. That way you can make sure you have a nice straight line and do it lightly. That way you can go back and erase it. So you always want to start by drawing very light. The harder you press, the harder it is to erase anything. Okay, so my light source is going to be coming from this angle onto the objects. So everything on this side is going to be light. We're going to get some shadows here in the middle. And then we're going to have some reflective light on the other side. So I'm going to start with my darkest areas first. My darkest area is going to start here towards the middle where the light can't reach. Again, the same thing with the sphere. I'm going to start here towards the middle and shade. Where the light can't reach. Now, I don't want a lot of information in this piece, so I'm going to make the background just flat. So I'm just going to shade it all in. making sure it's nice and even. And then I want it to blend together, so I'm going to use either a blending stump or a Q-tip. And you can see how easy it pushes together because of the graphite in the pencil. It's a 6B pencil. You get them at Dollar General, you can get them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart. Just makes it a lot easier to shade and get darks. Okay. Now I'm going to blend this shadow also, this core shadow that we started with. I'll do the same thing over here to the sphere. Now the objects themselves are going to cast a shadow, so let's do the cast shadow to the object. There's another cast shadow down here, but it actually mixes in a little bit with the box and the shadow the bottom box makes. I'm going to shade that shadow in. Again, these are called cast shadows. I'm going to blend those together. Okay, there's going to be a shadow on this side of the box because it is technically away from the light. So I'm going to shade this in on a middle tone, which is a gray. I'm going to blend that in. Now the core shadows are almost black, so I am going to want to go back in and darken those. So I'm going to get in here and darken it a little bit more. It's right where the light and the dark meet. I'm going to shade this side also. Some of that gray is going to get over here on the side. Now I've got the hole up here I need to shade in, so I'm going to shade that in. Do the same thing over here, right where the dark and the light kind of separate from each other. It's going to create a shadow, a darker shadow, that is. And again, the cast shadows are pretty dark, so I'm going to darken those. Just go back over it, press down harder. Again, this is why investing in a graphite 6B pencil is a good thing. It saves you a lot of work. I'm going to blend that together. Most of the surface are not going to be pure white, so I am going to shade the surfaces a little bit more. Remember, the light source is coming from this direction, so I'm going to lighten it up as it goes that way. I'm going to make my background a little bit darker just to add more contrast with the foreground, to separate the background and the foreground. One of the key artists to create this type of lighting and shading is Leonardo Da Vinci. And the phrase chiaroscuro is the study of light. And Da Vinci always studied everything that was in nature, birds, fish, how they worked, how they moved. He looked at anatomy and studied anatomy. I'm going to blend the background together. But he studied how the eyes worked and how light entered into the eyes. So his techniques were pretty sophisticated at the time. And blend this little bit that I kind of came in here and did, just to separate it from the other objects. That looks pretty good. Push in some of my darks. That is pretty much it. And you have yourself a still life.